Putin's playing us. He's playing the West. He has been playing this information game. He started it 10 years before he invaded Crimea and took over Crimea. So this has been going on for decades. And he's got the West exactly where he wants them at the moment, in a position where only he knows if he's going to go into Ukraine, and if that's going to happen, when it's going to happen. And he's playing world leaders in a way that they're now queuing up to go and see him and try and negotiate with him. He feels at the center of the world stage, and he's loving it. He's the puppet master, and he's treating the rest of the world as his puppets.
Now, there have been reports of cyber attacks against Ukraine overnight. What do you make of those?
Well, it's interesting. The cyber attacks against the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense, against Ukrainian banks, they're similar to cyber attacks that happened just before the 2014 annexation of Crimea. And again, before that, there were similar troop movements in certain areas. However, I'd have expected if this was a precursor to him invading, he'd have gone for critical national infrastructure and a number of other places. So it's part of the messaging again. It's all about effects. It's creating an effect to create a debate so he can sit and watch what's going on. And he's using then the reaction that he sees from Western leaders in the international press and all the rest of it to try and see what his next move's going to be. He's playing a game of 4D chess. The trouble is, I think we're playing a game of 2D chess back against him, and we're not seeing all these manoeuvres.
Yeah, I mean, he's claimed again in that press conference with the German Chancellor Olaf Scholz yesterday that there are human rights offences carrying on in the Donbass. In fact, he used the word genocide. Is this something that he is trying to play out to basically give himself justification to invade at some point, or could those claims actually be true?
The claims aren't true. NATO has looked at it very closely and would have been reporting it and would have been holding individuals to account. He loves it because it's the excuse that NATO used whenever it was dealing with the huge refugee crisis and the potential for genocide that there was in Kosovo. And both Putin and his defense minister, Lavrov, have used the Kosovo example on a number of occasions, and they would like to use that to justify them going in for humanitarian reasons to protect part of the Russian-speaking population in Ukraine. That would give them a very good excuse to come in, especially if they were just going for a limited incursion rather than an invasion of the whole country. But a number of those things have been intercepted, and you mentioned the videos. Those have probably been taken down before they could even be properly put out there by Western cyber capability. And there's a number of other things that have been exposed by US and UK intelligence services over the last couple of weeks, where false flag actions by the Russians were being planned. This is all part of what Putin does. They've got a doctrine called maskirovka, masking, which is all about deception. And deception is the critical part of warfare. It has been ever since Sun Tzu identified it as such in the 6th century.